Stop. If you just tilted that pot over the sink and watched that cloudy water disappear down the pipes, you didn't just empty a pot. You actually just threw away the single most valuable ingredient in your kitchen. I'm not being dramatic. Professional chefs literally call that murky leftover liquid gold, and for good reason. Most home cooks treat it like a byproduct, something to get rid of so they can get to the real food. But what if I told you that by dumping it, you're guaranteed to end up with dry, clumpy pasta and a sauce that slides right off the noodle and pools at the bottom of your bowl? I've spent over 15 years in professional kitchens and developing recipes for folks who want to cook smarter, not harder. I've seen thousands of people wonder why their home-cooked spaghetti never tastes quite like the $30 plate at the high-end Italian spot downtown. They think it's the expensive olive oil or some secret spice. It's not. The secret is currently swirling down your drain. Here's the thing most people get wrong. They think pasta water is just dirty water. In reality, while those noodles are dancing around in the boiling pot, they're releasing precious starches. That starch is a natural thickener and a powerful emulsifier. Now, you might be asking, why does a home cook need an emulsifier? Think about the last time you made a simple butter or oil-based sauce. You mix it with the pasta, and 5 minutes later, the oil is at the bottom and the pasta is a sticky, gummy mess. That's because water and fat, like oil or butter, don't naturally want to be friends. They stay separated. But when you add a splash of that liquid gold, the starch acts like a bridge. It binds the fat and the liquid together into a silky, velvety sauce that actually clings to every single ridge of your penne or strand of your linguine. It transforms a mediocre meal into a masterpiece. But it gets even more interesting than just better sauce. Because this water is seasoned and preheated, it's actually a pre-built flavor base for a dozen other things in your kitchen that have nothing to do with Italian night. I know it sounds a bit out there to keep a jar of old cooking water in your fridge, but stick with me. Once you see what this stuff does to a loaf of bread or even your morning routine, you'll never look at a colander the same way again. If you're tired of wasting money on flavor enhancers when the best one is literally free, do me a quick favor. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. It helps me keep sharing these old-school kitchen secrets with the community. Now, before you go grabbing a ladle, there is a massive mistake I see people make all the time. They think any water from the pot will do. But if you scoop that water out too early, you're basically just getting hot, salty water. The magic happens at the very end. You want that water to be as cloudy and concentrated as possible. That cloudiness is the starch that's been hammered out of the pasta during the entire cooking process. If you pull it at the 2-minute mark, you're missing out on 80% of the gold. Wait until the pasta is about a minute away from being al dente. That's when the liquid is at its peak potency. But here is the secret mug method that will save your dinner every single time. Most people try to drain the pasta into a colander and catch some water in a bowl underneath. It's messy. You usually burn your hand, or worse, you forget to put the bowl there and watch the liquid disappear forever. Instead, keep a heavy coffee mug right next to the stove. Before you even touch that colander, dip the mug directly into the pot and pull out a full cup. Set it aside. Now you can drain the rest without the stress. Now, you might be asking, okay, I've got the mug of water. Now what? This is where the science of the emulsion we talked about earlier comes into play. You don't just pour the water over the finished pasta like a sauce. That's just making it soggy. You want to finish your pasta in the pan with the sauce. Transfer your noodles directly from the pot into your skillet of sauce while they are still dripping. Then, add a splash of that starchy water, maybe a 1/4 cup to start, and turn up the heat. As you toss the pasta, The starch in the water works with the fat in your sauce to create a creamy, restaurant-quality glaze. It fills in the microscopic gaps on the surface of the pasta, making sure the sauce actually sticks to the noodle instead of sliding off. But it gets even better. Did you know that liquid gold is a secret weapon for bakers? If you're someone who likes to bake fresh bread or even just a quick pizza dough on the weekends, stop using plain tap water. The leftover starch and the slight saltiness from the pasta water act as a natural dough conditioner. It makes the crumb of your bread softer and helps the crust develop a beautiful, golden brown color in the oven. It's like a professional bakery secret that's been hiding in your kitchen this whole time. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. You've probably heard celebrity chefs tell you that your pasta water should taste like the ocean. If you follow that advice and then try to use your liquid gold to finish a sauce, you are headed for a salt-induced disaster. As that starchy water simmers and reduces in your pan, the water evaporates, but the salt stays behind. It concentrates. What started as a perfectly seasoned pot can quickly turn into a meal that is completely inedible. My rule of thumb: season the water until it tastes like a well-seasoned soup, not a mouthful of seawater. That way, when you use a splash to bind your sauce, you're adding flavor without overshooting the mark. Now, I know what you're thinking. Porter, I'm only cooking for 1 or 2 people. I don't need a whole gallon of this stuff every night. Here's the secret to making this work for the long haul. Don't throw away what you don't use tonight. Let that leftover water cool down, and then pour it into an empty ice cube tray. Pop it in the freezer. The next time you're reheating a leftover container of pasta in the microwave, which we all know usually turns into a dry, rubbery brick, just toss one of those starchy gold cubes on top before you hit start. As it melts, it'll revive the sauce and the noodles, making them taste like they were just pulled off the stove. It's a total game changer for anyone who hates food waste. But let's get a little unconventional. Because this liquid is packed with minerals and nutrients that the pasta left behind, your kitchen isn't the only place that wants it. If you have a garden, or even just a few pots of herbs on the windowsill, this stuff is like a premium multivitamin for your plants. Just make sure the water has cooled completely to room temperature. And, this is crucial, only use it if you didn't go overboard with the salt in the pot. The diluted starch actually helps feed the beneficial bacteria in the soil. And for those of you who still soak your own dried beans or lentils, stop using tap water. Soaking your legumes in leftover pasta water adds a layer of depth and savory flavor that you just can't get from a faucet. At the end of the day, being a smart senior in the kitchen isn't about buying the most expensive gadgets or the rarest ingredients. It's about recognizing the value in what most people are literally pouring down the drain. It's about making your groceries go further and your meals taste better without spending an extra dime. I want to hear from you down in the comments. Did your grandmother or mother ever use this liquid gold trick? Or is this your first time hearing about it? I read every single comment, so let's get the conversation started.